Good afternoon, everyone. Today we've got a bit of a treat for you. We're going to be looking at two very sort of similar watches. We're going to be looking at my own Tissot PRX mint dial versus the Accurist Origin 70001. I'm considering getting this Accurist watch. I'm not sure yet. Basically, I'm just doing this video really to see what these watches look like next to each other. So yeah, let's get right on to the unboxing, shall we? So obviously got Tissot on the left, Accurist on the right. The Accurist watch is housed in an actual sort of watch roll, as you can see here. And obviously the Tissot box is just a plain sort of black box. Nice, decent sort of weight with a folding lid. That's obviously the watches at the first glance. Let's take that off. To one side. I think the Tissot box just looks a little bit nicer just with how it's presented, and I think it's better made. Like the watch roll on the Accurist one, you've got to watch a little bit. So here we go, guys. We've got the Tissot PRX 40mm on the left and the Accurist Origin 70001 41mm on the right. So we're just going to compare them at face value for now, just in terms of all the dimensions and whatnot. So as I said, the PRX comes in 40mm with a 10.4mm case thickness, and the Accurist is near enough the same. It's 41 and 10mm in thickness. So they're very sort of similar in terms of the thickness at face value. The Accurist, though, is just a little bit heavier, despite the fact it's sort of similar size. The Accurist weighs 150 grams, whereas the PRX, when all links have been added back in, is about 130. So it's a bit of a sort of a lighter watch. However, saying that, the Tissot PRX is about 3 times more expensive, so it's £335. That's how much I paid for it, and that's how much they still are nowadays. But the Accurist Origin, you can get this from Amazon, you can get it from Accurist themselves for £160. So obviously, well, probably half the price. So in terms of the actual movements inside, they both operate on a quartz movement. One uses a Swiss ETA F06 quartz movement, whereas the other one uses a Miyota CJS25, which, for those of you who know movements, is obviously a chronograph movement. But in terms of the differences in those, there's a massive difference. The actual accuracy on that ETA movement for the PRX is quoted at plus or minus 20 seconds per month. Some sources say plus or minus 10 seconds per, sorry, not per month, plus or minus 20 seconds per year, or some sources say plus or minus that per, I think it's plus or minus 10. Some of them say plus or minus 10 seconds per year, whereas the Accurist is plus or minus 20 seconds per month. That's according to the information I could find online. So let's move a little more closer and have a look at the dials. So obviously with the Tissot, you get, this is something you experience when you actually purchase it. You can't really see it very well in photos when you're buying it online, but you get, depending on how you angle the watch towards your face, you get 2 different colours. You can, this doesn't work very well because it's under UV light at the moment, but you can see it almost like it changes colour based on how you angle it. But when you're outside, sometimes the face will appear green, sometimes it'll appear more as it does now, mint sky blue colour. The Accurist gives off this same sort of effect with the blue sunray dial, but it's obviously not as distinctive. It's not designed for that feature. Well, it is a little bit, but it's not designed to entirely change colour. The Accurist does change its colour because it's got a sunray blue, but not as much. And obviously that navy blue sunray dial is consistent going across the chronograph as well. The Tissot PRX doesn't obviously have that. They've both got fully luminous hands, fully luminous increments. The luminous on the Tissot PRX is super lumi-bright, which is very good. It's similar to what Luminox use in their military watches. They both use a sapphire glass and both waterproof to 100 metres. Not going to go and show the chronograph because I've done a full sort of review of that on the actual review that I've done for this watch. I'm not going to go and compare that in too much detail. So coming around the side, the actual the metal that's used on the PRX is quoted at 316. I'm not sure what the metal is used on the Accurist, but you do notice the difference in those sort of thicknesses when you're actually holding them. You do notice that weight in the Accurist watch. Obviously, I've got two different sort of style designs. One's obviously a bit more functional for a chronograph, and one's just nice and contemporary with the retro design. So coming down to the strap, the straps are very, very similar. But I think the Tissot PRX does win the battle of the bracelet of how the strap behaves, because of how well these links connect together. They fold really nicely. They rotate really nicely. This one's a little bit, I know it's in a wrapper, but this one's just a little bit stronger. But it just entirely depends on how you want your strap to behave. The lug width on the Tissot PRX is 12mm, whereas the lug width on the Accurist Origin is around about 22mm. With that as well, they're both quick release, so it doesn't matter. They're both easy to snap on, snap off. So yeah, they're both quite easy in that essence. Coming down to the clasps, the Accurist offers a bit of a cheaper mechanism. It's got the double fold over clasp, whereas the Tissot is a bit more of a step up. Then again, it should be really, because it's twice as expensive. You've got a double fold over butterfly style clasp with a double push button deployment system and a nice elegant click down. Let's clip this one back down in place as well. And finally, come around to the back plates. Obviously, you've both of these actual cases actually on the back are engravable if you want them to. They both come around from a very similar era. So the Accurist is around about 1970, whereas the Tissot you can find a bit more of a precise date. It's around about 1978 was when the design came into play. The actual Tissot PRX has more variants, so you've got more choice of colour. You've got more choices really. I think you've got 10 variants of Tissot PRX, whereas the Accurist has only got 9. You might be able to notice this, but on the front, Tissot's been around a little bit a lot longer than Accurist. I think Accurist was founded, I think, in Clerkenwell, London, 1946. If that rings a bell, I think. Whereas Tissot PRX, as you can see, you might have spotted it on the bracelet, but it's 1853, I think it is. Yeah, 1853 on there. Obviously, this is mine, it's just a little bit scratched up now. So there you go, guys. That is the Tissot PRX versus the Accurist Origin double unboxing.